in all the disasters that happen, school shootings, major disasters, all of that, you find that survivors, a lot of them go through a terrible guilt situation. And some, I'd say, either because of bullying, pressure from others, but the guilt itself, you feel bad about being a survivor, that you weren't killed along with your friends or your family or whatever. And but the worst part, I think, is in our situation, has been that the government, law enforcement agents that were involved in the raid and the siege, and media personnel that come to interview and to write stories about our situation have, in many cases, been very, very negative. And I can understand, they're upset about the loss of their agents and things like that, but to pressure and to cast accusations and that on the survivors, telling them they should be dead too, and they are cowards, they lit the fire and ran off and left their friends to die, and statements like that, I think it's one way for them to vent, but what is the end result of it? In the case of school shootings and that, you've got people just recently that survived some of these catastrophes and end up committing suicide. And no one knows what kind of damage they do in speaking out of their feelings, especially in a public forum, on the news media or whatever, as to where it's going to end up. Everybody's responsible for the way they speak, the way they express themselves, and we see every day people acting on things they hear on television and on, various rallies or whatever. They get all worked up and maybe go out and do even worse crimes. So it concerns me that kind of thing goes on. I think there's a great need for people to consider what they're saying and what they're doing, because if they're really Christian, as many of them profess, they're certainly not acting like Christ.